Hi, welcome to the table. My name's Steve Rain.
I'm Jonathan Hicks.
I'm Amy Watley.
And we're back with another top 5 list, and this time we're going to do top 5 abstract games. So I know Amy and I possibly struggled to whittle this down, Jonathan, but would you like to tell us how you did your list?
So I looked on Board Game Geek at the top, however many hundreds of abstract games, listed them by rank, and went through a whole pile of them, and I came up with 5 games that I like. That's it. Out of the entire, however many there are only 5 that I even like. So my top 5 is just the ones that I like, but I have put them in order.
So I kind of listed all the games I thought were abstract, and then picked the ones I think I liked because they're the most abstract. So necessarily, if there's a bit of theme in there, I probably haven't included it on the list. My games are definitely very abstract.
Mine, I've done a little bit of sort of slightly more maybe family-friendly games as well, because although I really like really complex abstract games, I also like things that I can play with anybody. So mine might be a bit more family-friendly.
Yeah. I found this list a bit easy to pick games, just hard to sort. Hard to order.
Yeah, really hard to order. I struggled.
Without much further ado, we're going to go on to our number 5.
Marvellous. It's number 5.
So my number 5 is a 2-player game. Now, not all my games on this list are 2-player, but most abstract games are, and it is a dice rolling game called Backgammon. Backgammon is a friendly classic, and the reason it's on the list is not necessarily because maybe it's the best abstract game out there or anything like that. It's just I'm always happy to play it. In fact, I can sit there and play it and do other things. I can sit there and chat. I don't have to put much thinking into it. It's much more of a casual abstract game for me, whereas a lot of the other ones are way more thinkier. It's
the chewing gum of abstract games, isn't it? It's something you can do while you're doing something else.
Yeah.
It just keeps you occupied.
I imagine it's the sort of abstract game you can play in the coffee shop. A bit like chess, to be honest, to some extent. If you're not taking it too seriously, you can kind of play a bit of chess and chat and talk at the same time.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of these other ones take a lot more deep thought. But Backgammon, the look of the dice kind of impacts things, and you're generally trying to mitigate. You're trying to do the best from the dice you have rather than make the best move every time.
I would happily play Backgammon, as you say, just to while away the hours while chatting about something else. But I wouldn't play it for the sake of playing it, if that makes sense. It doesn't get me very excited.
I love it.
You've
played it recently for the first time, haven't you?
Yeah, and I really started to enjoy it, and I've played it more outside of the cafe as well. And I have really learnt to enjoy it, and it's a game that I wish I'd have learnt much earlier in life now.
I've played against some people who are very good and they hammer me. And it's weird that, a game that revolves around dice that you can get bested by that way. But yeah, it's good.
Okay, my number 5 is the old classic chess. Now, I have actually played a lot of chess over the years. I remember sitting down for a few years once with like a chess sort of learning program and teach like the opening moves, for example. And it shows you it, and then you kind of try it, and then you learn another one. It adds, so you can do 2 or 3 or 4 opening moves for a particular type of opening, and you just kind of learn them. And you keep going. If you make a mistake, you go back and you try it again. And I spent hours and hours and hours learning all these opening moves, and it makes a big difference to how well you can play chess. So I was pretty good, not amazing or anything at chess, but I was pretty good. And I really enjoyed competing at that level, although one really important caveat, which is probably going to apply to quite a lot of these games, is you really need to play someone of a similar skill level. So I wouldn't really enjoy playing somebody who's no good at chess. Equally, I wouldn't enjoy playing against somebody who's really good at chess, and that's always the difficulty, because finding someone who's just at my kind of level is hard. But actually, when I do that, I do really enjoy it.
We've played a bit. You beat me usually, I think.
Yeah. And that's fine. I do enjoy it. I suppose chess is one of those things where I enjoy learning. So I'm very rusty now. It's been a long time since I played it properly. But I enjoy kind of playing it in terms of, that was a really clever move that I need to remember that one sort of for next time. And thinking through all the possibilities is nice, but you really need to have put a lot of hours into chess, I think, before you see the enjoyment. You can't play chess casually and enjoy it much, I don't think.
I like chess. It's a very standard game. It's just very good. It's just good at what it is, but like you say, I wouldn't play loads of it because it's not something that I can play casually. And that's what I like about abstract games, is that they can be played sort of while you're having a cup of tea or kind of watching TV at the same time.
Okay.
I like that I can do multiple things. Chess is too thinky. I can't do that. I need to sit down and think 3 turns ahead. And so, for me, that would be a differentiating.
I think I'd play chess more if there was someone that I had a 50-50 win rate with.
Yeah.
Like if they like you say, if I played you a lot, you'd probably win 80%, I think. But given the few games we've played,
Yeah.
and so I'd want that 50-50 rate. Otherwise, it is like shooting fish in a barrel or just being shot in a barrel by a fish.
Yeah. Mine is Hey, That's My Fish. Talking about fish in barrels. I really like it. It's a really light abstract game. It has a bit of theme, but it is tacked on essentially. You could use anything. So I really like it. It's just really light-hearted. It's fun. I can play against people of different abilities. I can play against like my family, my friends, and it's kind of fine, but it is fundamentally an abstract game.
I've seen this at expos and conventions and stuff where they have the giants.
The giant ones,
and they get the kids out doing it, and moving around.
And like
picking the fish up.
moving, it's great. Loads of fun.
I actually think this is a very good two-player game. If
Yeah.
you play it two-player,
It
there's
is
a lot
good
of
two players.
strategy.
Yeah.
You can kind of count out the exact squares you can
Yeah,
finish with
you
if you
can.
move to certain places once it gets narrow.
Yeah.
And I like that it's randomised each time you play because the fish are all going to be in different places. I'm going to start in different places. So the game is always going to be different. Chess, you always start in the same places, sort of thing. Like, that you know what's going to happen. Hey, that's my fish. Not the case. And I like that. I like that element of randomness and that it can go different ways. And I think it plays nicely two players, but also I like the option of having an abstract game that can play up to 4.
Yeah, that's really nice. I played it like with kids as a family game. I don't think I played it seriously with another adult as a like an abstract game. But I do think it's good. I think it works really well.
I've played it online, like 1v1.
Okay.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
quite strategic.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I never. It's number 4.
My next one is a very popular game that's just only been released fairly recently, and that's Azul. In fact, they've just had a new version come out at Essen last year. I think it's a really solid game, and it's very abstract, but I like the components are great, but the kind of pattern matching, trying to think carefully about, if I take this with that, how do you best fit them into your grid, is really interesting. But also how you just pick the tiles from the middle is really interesting as well, in terms of thinking, now if I take this group, he's going to take that one, and then she will get that one, then I get done in, right? Maybe if I take this one, and then he takes that, and she takes that, that works. And so I like thinking through that little puzzle each time. But it doesn't take too long and plays multiple people. I think it's a really solid game. I mean, it's obviously very well regarded and deservedly so, but I do always enjoy Azul whenever we play it.
Yeah.
One game of the year for good reason. I think it's nice that you can plan almost a whole turn ahead, especially when you're halfway through a particular end.
Yeah.
And half the pieces are gone, it's a middle or this or this. And you can think, right, okay, I can plan one turn ahead, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no overthinking it.
Yeah.
I very much agree. It's a great
I
game.
haven't played it for quite a while, actually. I've played it. Actually, since Stained Glass came out, I don't think I've played it.
I've not played the original since Stained Glass came out. I've played that a few times.
I actually think I prefer the original.
I've been back to the original and I think I prefer it just about.
Okay. Amy?
My next one is Android Mainframe,
Oh.
which I really enjoy.
Yes, I've played that.
Yeah.
Don't think you have
I
you?
don't think I have, no.
It's in the cafe. You should play it.
Okay.
It's great. I really like it. It's quite simple. You may have played a game probably at school or with kids where you just need to fill in a box and whoever completes the box gets to score for it. And it's basically that, but in a board game. There's obviously a few more bits and there's abilities and you have little character pieces. And basically if you have majority within a section that you've created with the grid and you get plastic pieces and make a grid, then you score for that many spaces that you have accomplished. But there are loads of different abilities. There are cards that you can pick to either place tiles, so straight pieces, or you can move your tiles to different spaces. So I could say, actually I'm going to move my tile from here to over here, and that allows me to get in on this scoring action over here. I think it's a really flexible game. It's very easy to teach. It's really easy to pick up. And it's just really nice. And it's quite a cheap game too. Like, it's just really nice.
This is something you're going to see a lot on my list. But adding a decent chunk of theme on top of an abstract game makes a big difference to me. So I think I've only played mainframe once, but I remember enjoying it, definitely.
Yeah.
And part of that is, although it is, as you say, it's very abstract.
Yeah.
Actually, they have made an effort with the theme.
They have, and it's pretty and
Is it 2
nicely
player?
produced.
No.
Up to 4 or 5, I think it is.
Let's have a go at
I
that.
think it's up to 5 actually. So yeah, it's really nice.
My number 4 is a game where there are some people, including one person on this row, that does not like it, and that we mentioned it earlier, and that is a pattern matching game called Set. Set's been around a very long time ago, and it is abstract.
It's me.
No, it's weird. So Set is a game where you've got like 12 cards in the middle and you're trying to match in groups of 3. None of the cards are the same, but they have sharing categories, and in each category, I always explain it this way, every kind of property of the shapes have either got to be all the same or all different. So they could all be green, they could all be a different quantity and something like that. And it's really hard to get your head into the way of thinking about how this works on the first play. So, if you've played before and other people haven't, you kind of let them play and you stand back. But it's one of those games a bit like, some of the games that he's going to mention later, that you can kind of walk away and then come back in. You don't need to be there. There's no turns necessarily. You can have 20 people playing this game at once. 20 is probably a bit unmanageable, but it's really nice. And I saw it first when I was teaching, actually. Someone showed me it as a teacher. As just a pattern recognition thing, and pattern recognition, especially with numbers or shapes and stuff like that, is as a maths teacher, that kind of appeals to me. And the way I kind of think and look at things as well, it's really nice. And if you put them out for me here, and they were talking, I'd be like, okay, I'd be looking for sets and looking for patterns, and that sort of appeals to me. And I understand that if it's one of those games that if you're not good at, you won't enjoy, or at least everyone else will go set, and you won't be picking up anything, and that will put some people off the game. But if you like patterns and the kind of like time-based, real-time games, I think you'll quite like it.
I really like the fact that, as you say, you can just step in and step out because everyone's kind of playing at once. There's no turns. It's just, as soon as you see a set, you call set, and you take the cards and you refill. It is very skill-dependent. You can't play with a mixed ability group. It really doesn't work. But it's also great educationally, I think. Like I taught it to my son when he was pretty young, and he's really good now. He's better than I am at this game. And he's 11 years old now, but will just spot the patterns really quickly because he just practices it a lot. He loves it. And I really enjoy playing it. Even if I don't always win, that competitive, I'll just try and get as many as I can. There's an issue, though, if, as I say, the skill difference is enough that you can't get any. They beat you every single time. That is no fun at all. But as long as you get a decently sort of matching skill level in the group, I really, really like it.
The possible problem with abstract games, we'll find out why you don't like it in a second. And if there is no look in the game, then it will put some people off.
Yes.
Yeah. I am not good at set. I'm good at pattern matching. Genuinely, I'm good at other pattern matching games. So I don't know why I'm bad at set, but I am bad at set. And what frustrates me is that sometimes there is not a set.
Yes.
That is the main thing I dislike about this game, is that you could stand there for 10 minutes staring at a table and then all just look at each other and go, oh yeah, there's no set, is there? Oh yeah, there's no set. Oh no, there's no set. Then you just got to start again. And it drives me insane because I don't want to stare at a table for 10 minutes when there's no set. And then I just think I'm being rubbish at the game, and then everyone stares at me, and then they're like, there's genuinely no set, Amy, this time. And I'm like, oh, is there not? Because I haven't seen the last 20 either.
It's definitely an introvert's game, I think, because most of the game is just sat in silence.
Yeah. And I know other games like The Mind, which are really good, and they are sat in silence. But I'm thinking, and I just can't with set. I just can't see the patterns. I don't get it.
Spotting the ones where they're the same is okay,
Can't.
I think. Seeing 3 cards that have each got 2 shapes on is fine. But it can be a set where none of the things match.
Yeah.
So you're picking a 1 with a 2 with a 3.
And all the shapes are different, and the colours are different, and the shading's different.
And that is really hard to get your head around.
It is. And
I like that. That's my favourite one.
I just can't.
Extraordinary. It's number 3.
Cool. So my next one is one that I saw at Games Expo a couple of years ago, which is Abalone, which has been around for a while, but I only just found out about it, and I really like it. I like how tactile it is. I love the sounds it makes, which is mad.
With the balls.
Yeah, with the balls, and you push them, and
pushing 1, 2 or 3
so
balls,
good.
and you're trying to push the others off.
The others off, and you need to get 6 of your opponents off the board. I really like the way it's made. I think the board is so clever. Like the way that it works so that you can push those balls in any direction. It's really thinky. If you're against someone against a similar level. Again, it's got to be one of those ones where you're against someone who's a similar thinker to you or a similar level of player. Otherwise, I'm just like, oh, well, you didn't spot that, did you? Off, combo, done. So
if you take a lead in the game, it's hard to get back. If the opponent controls the centre and you've split their things into 2 bits or something, it's very hard to get
that's why it's kind of a thing where I need to be against somebody who is a similar level to myself. But it's another one of those coffee table games for me. That one, we can just leave it out on the table. I'll be off doing something and I'll come back, make another move. Someone else will come over and make their move, and we're doing separate things entirely with our days, but we've played Abalone. It's really nice.
I think this might be the first, if not the second, board game I ever bought.
Wow.
I think I bought it back in 2001. I can't remember if I bought this or Catan first. Now, I played Catan first, but I went to the board game shop in York, and I think 2002 it might have been, I think, yeah.
And of all the games, you bought that one.
Yeah.
I've still got it. It's in the cafe.
It's great.
I would not be a fan of this one. Although I don't think I've ever played it, but it's just way too abstract for me.
I've not even suggested
The only reason I'm familiar with it is because you commentated on it for the Mind Sports
last
Olympiad.
2 years, actually, yeah.
And I did the video editing, I think. So I was watching it for that reason. But yeah, it's just too thinky and abstract. The balls by themselves are not enough.
They have world championships at it. It's got quite a big following, especially in France.
Balls are they're a perk of a brilliant game.
Me?
That's me.
You?
So my number 3 is one of the games from the GIF series. It's my favourite from the series, and it is the one I think that has the biggest skill discrepancy. Kind of, if you're good, you're going to win much easier, and that is Yinch. Yinch is Othello, but better. I think it's more tactical. I think there is an advantage to going second in Othello. I think I can't quite remember, but usually computer beats you if you go first. But Yinch is a game where you're placing discs and then moving. You're placing counters and you're moving your discs to flip all the things over, and you're trying to get 5 in a row. And the reason I like it is that it isn't just about trying to get 5 around, it's about trying to control the centre of the board with your discs, because your discs will block your opponents and make sure that your lines are protected and stuff. But once you get 5 in a row, your position becomes weaker because you have to take one of your 5 discs off and say, I've got a point.
Yeah.
And when you're on 2 points and your opponent's on none, you think, brilliant, I'm almost won. But he's got 5 discs moving around, much more choice and flexibility than you have with your remaining 3, hopefully to try and get the last 5 in a row. I actually played against Miles the other day. It was his first game of playing, and I think he beat me at it. So. But yeah, I think Yinch is my favourite of that series, and it's my number 3 abstract game.
I've definitely got more time for the GIF series in general. Yinch wouldn't be my favourite. I really like Devon in that series, but I can see why you like it, and it's certainly solid. I think it's just a little bit too thinky, probably, in that, as you say, with skill differences, it becomes much more of an issue. But it's really nice, the mechanism of moving the rings around and then using those to try and get the 5 in a row. It takes a simple concept but makes it interesting. So it's definitely a good game.
Yeah, I really like that one, and Devon actually as well. But I'm not sure which of the two my favourite would be.
It's clearly Yinch.
I'm better at Yinch. Matt beats me at Devon every time. But yeah, it's a solid game. It's good. I like it.
Okay, my next one has got some theme in it, and that is Santorini, which is the one where you're moving your people around and building up the sort of houses in the Greek island of Santorini, or the city, I think, or town or something, isn't it? But it's very picturesque. The little white houses with the blue domes on top, they look great, and that really matters to me. But essentially, it's just a very abstract game. You're trying to get to level 3, aren't you?
Yes.
So when it's your turn, you can move one of your pieces and build a bit of the town, if you like, but you can go up by 1 level and only 1 level, so you have to kind of gradually step your way up. But obviously the other player is trying to block you, and if a level 3 building gets capped off with a blue dome, then no one can go there. So you're sort of blocking the opponent. They have to try and get round to a different level 3 building somewhere else. So the basic game, I think, is really nice. The god powers that then add on the top of that makes it great. And essentially everyone has their own special ability, and they're really wacky, often very powerful, and can massively change the game and the sort of strategies you need to use in the game. which is one of the reasons I really like it, because with some abstract games, there's the problem of the different skill levels. What if someone's just played a lot more than you? They're going to do a lot better. But because of the randomness of the god powers, because there's loads and loads of them, you're going to find in this game, this particular combination with these two gods, chances are neither of you ever played that particular combination before, so it's kind of like coming to it as a new game every time. So it feels really fresh every time I play it.
Yeah. I like it much better with the god powers. I would arguably not play it without. I think I would say to the person, I'd rather not play this game if we're not playing with the god powers.
Okay.
I like it a lot more with. It's not one of my favourite abstract games. I think it's okay. I really like it as a design. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I would only really play it with the god powers.
Okay.
I considered that it was close to making my list. I think it's just the fact that things have been added to it and the god powers. Effectively, you can get a god power combination that you feel when you're playing is biased towards one than the other. And I think that can be the case. There's also a couple of gods.
Is it biased? You mean more powerful than the other one?
It's just the matchup between them makes one better than the other.
Okay, so individually, it's not necessarily
correct. I wouldn't say that this is the best god. I would say if you've got this god, then that's the best god to play against you and stuff like that. So I think the powers, and I also think there's got a couple of gods. Chaos is one of them that adds a bit of randomness into it. Matt was going to beat me in the knockout. He was 1-0 up, and he had a thing. And I'm like, well, I can't do anything. But I had the one that I kept changing my power.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, whatever. I'll hope I get something good. Oh, Pan. And if you jump off a 2-level building with Pan, you win the game. So I was on a 2-level building, he couldn't do anything, and then I beat him the next game. But like that randomness in an abstract game feels less
strange.
It feels like it shouldn't be there in an abstract game.
Yeah.
So I don't like the couple of powers which kind of chuck things out of it. But it's a very good game, and in terms of rating wise, it's possibly better than some of the ones I've got on my list. But as an abstract game, it's not pure abstract.
Yeah, I think that's why I like it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Spiffing. It's number 2.
So my number 2 game is a game that I imagine might feature on someone else's list. It's a game I played for the first time last summer, and that is Entropy. Entropy is by far my favourite 2-player abstract by a long way, which gives you a hint that my number 1 is not a 2-player game. But Entropy, you're taking it in turns playing Order and Chaos, and the two sides play dramatically different. But what happens is you swap over and you're trying to, and then you play another game where you're Chaos and then Order, and you're trying to score the best as Order as you can be. And your opponent's Chaos is putting counters down and Order's moving them about. And you're just trying to create patterns and palindromes and stuff to score the best you can. And when you put it like that, it doesn't seem very complicated. But when you play it, and especially when you play it against someone who's played it before, deep, it's really, really good. We brought it into the cafe. For the first time since August. No one had ever played it before in the cafe, and we got 11 people to try it out, play it, and join a tournament for it. Where they didn't have to. There's no prize or anything like that. There's no reason to do it apart from the fact that 11 people thought, yeah, I'll give that a go. I want to play that competitively. And I know it's not a game that Jonathan raves highly about. Mainly because of its complete lack of theme. It used to be called Heil, but yeah, I think it's an amazing game. I rate it 9.5 out of 10. I think it's brilliant.
I entirely agree. I love it. It's great. When Steve brought that back from his trip, blew my mind. It's great. I'm going to leave it at that for now.
I cannot understand why they like this game so much. I mean, oh dear. It's so dry. I mean, I know abstract games are kind of dry. And this one has a bunch of colours, which is nice. And actually, I do like the idea of it. The guy that the pulling the things out of the bag is nice, and then you've got to place them on the board is interesting. But in terms of what you're doing, in terms of the thought processes involved, it doesn't interest me at all. You're just trying to say, well, if I put it here, I can get a pattern there. But then the Chaos person moves it, don't they, after you've placed it?
The Order person moves it. So the Chaos person, you're trying to put it down in a place.
The Chaos is putting it down.
And then you try and move it into create order, yeah. So I think it's very clever. And I really like having the two different sides and switching. So it's completely fair, but you're getting 2 very different experiences with each of those 2 games.
Yeah.
So I think what it does is very good, but personally, I don't want to play this game.
You've only played it once, haven't you?
No, I think I've played it twice.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 times.
Do you count the 2 times where one is that and one is that?
I don't think I even got to the second time. I played the first side, it's like, all right, I see what this is now. I have no interest in playing the other side.
But how do you know if you'd win or not?
It's a good game, I'll give it that, but it's not for me. And it's me, isn't it? My number 2 is Ricochet Robots, which is very similar to Set in the sense that there's no turns. You just have the board, everyone sits and stares at it, tries to solve a puzzle effectively, and you call out a number when you think you've got a good solution. It's all about robots moving around on a square grid, and they just kind of bounce around. So they'll travel as far as they can in one direction until they hit something, and then you can travel in a different direction. So each line that they move is one move. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're just trying to get a certain colour robot to a certain colour square on the board, if you like. And it's interesting because you can move different robots. So it might be that this might take quite a lot of moves to get to a certain position, but if you move this robot in the way, then you can go there really quickly. So the interaction between the robots is super interesting, and I love playing it. But it is one of those where if you play with somebody who's much better than you, it's going to be no fun at all, just like Set, because they'll say 4 after about 5 seconds, and it's like, what, you can do it in 4? And you sit there for another 30 seconds and you can't even see it. It's just very frustrating. But as long as you're playing with people of a similar ability level, I think it's loads of fun. I really like it.
You can get up and leave and come back down. It's one of the biggest strengths of games like this that people don't mention often enough.
Yeah.
That you can have 6 people playing, and you can play in, and you can keep going as well. You just shuffle all the things back in.
Yeah.
And carry on. It's very popular at the cafe. I imagine it's a game. If you didn't like, do you like this?
No.
Right.
Another game
For the same reasons.
that I'm really bad at,
Okay.
that I hate staring at the board for that long. And it's because I play with people that are a much higher ability than myself, and I'd be struggling to find somebody of a lower ability of my own accord. So that is not something that I enjoy playing. Saying that, I have had fun playing micro robots before, which is the slightly smaller, scaled down version.
Is that with dice, is it?
No.
Not with dice, okay.
I've not tried it. I've heard it's good.
I like it. Yeah, it's fun. I like it. But I'm still not good at it. It's a shorter game. It's a much shorter game, and I think that's probably why I get along a little bit better with it. And you can get pity points in it.
Okay.
I think Set and Ricochet would fill a very similar gap to me.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't want to put both on the list. So.
Yeah, I can see that. And you prefer Set.
It depends what day I'm in, what mood I'm in, to be honest, is what I want to play. I think Set's a bit more casual, and it's a bit more of a filler, I think, than...
Yes.
Because Ricochet Robots you can play for a lot longer, and you can keep going.
Right.
With Set, you just put the cards out once you've got through the deck, you're done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely. Mine is Azul. I really love Azul. I do prefer the original to Stained Glass, but it took me a very long time to figure out which one I like more. It took me a lot of playing. I like that it's really flexible. I can play it with lots of different groups of people. I can play it with my family, or I can play it competitively with people at the cafe. And the difference in skill level doesn't matter too much, I've found. Not dramatically. I've played against people who I didn't think would do particularly well, and they beat me at it. And I was like, wow. And I liked that. It was fun, and it was surprising, and I really like it for all the reasons you said, and just, it's great.
Why do you prefer the original one to Stained Glass then?
I think the extra things that make Stained Glass just that little bit more complex actually sort of ruin it a little bit for me.
Like the beauty of the simplicity, and it's just adding...
I think the beauty of it is the simplicity, and then the Stained Glass is fun. I do love it. I would play it happily any day of the week, but I think the things that they've just done that have made it slightly more complicated, like the fact that your rows get removed after 2 turns of being flipped over and things like that, and just some of the little bits and bobs, I just don't find that I consistently get good synergies with it, with getting the right things in the right places at the right times, the passing at the right times. Whereas with regular Azul, I always find that, okay, that strategy fell short, but this is working instead and it's fine.
Okay.
I think it's harder to predict what people are going to do in Stained Glass as well. I think in regular Azul, he can't take the blues, he's going to take the reds to fill it in. And so on you go around. Whereas in Stained Glass, if their master builder is to the left, they can take these or these or these or these. They can take a lot of different things. There might be something that's clearly better for them and brilliant, you can predict them. Yeah. But if you can't...
Or they can spontaneously pass and you don't expect it, and you're like, oh gosh, I didn't expect them to pass there. Great, that's completely messed it up. Now I have to take this giant pile of yellows, and I get all these minus points for smashing all this glass.
It's thematically nice when if you take extra glass, it smashes.
Yeah, it's a really nice.
And I like the pouring thing.
Yeah, actually, that is great. I want to make one of those for a regular resort.
I mean, both games. I mean, it's minor differences. Both
they are, but both are great. But I think I do just about prefer the original.
Yeah, me too.
By Jove, it's number 1.
So we're going down to number 1s, and to determine the order in which we reveal them, we're going to pick a random question again. It's come from Jonathan this time. It's if you got choice of what colour your playing pieces you'd be, what would you pick? I'm always green.
I'm always yellow.
And I'm blue.
So we're going to go alphabetically. So down here?
I'll just down the road. Yeah, okay.
Nice and easy.
Great.
Okay.
Cool. So mine is entropy.
Ah.
I really like it. I really like it. It is dry. A lot of people won't like it. I understand that. But I have a lot of fun playing it. Steve and I play a lot at the cafe, but when I play against other people as well, and when I introduce it to people, I think I kind of judge the person. And I'm like, would they like this? And if they would, then I show them it. And quite often they do like it if it's the sort of person that would like other abstract games. So we have a friend who really likes Backgammon. We showed him Entropy and he liked it. So it's very much that sort of game. If you like other very abstract, thinky games, you will probably like Entropy, otherwise known as Heil. And we play on is it
7x7.
7x7, but the original was 5x5, wasn't it? So I haven't played 5x5. It might be a bit different, but we play on 7x7. It's really, really great.
One of the big strengths that we both like it is that because we both like it and we both work together and we can play our games while we're working and stuff like that, we get to play this a lot.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the strengths. I think one of the weaknesses with a lot of the abstract games, especially some of the ones I've mentioned, like Inch and Backgammon, is I don't get to play them enough.
Yeah.
I don't play. I don't. Like they're all two-player games. It's very hard to play two-player abstract on a game night.
Yeah.
Because they're quite quick, and so you don't want to do it and then miss out on a longer game and then have to find something else to do. But one of the strengths I think we both like, and we're fairly well matched. We get close scores every time.
Yeah, and that's what makes it really, really fun.
So yeah, I think if I didn't have someone to play it with all the time, it wouldn't be rated as high as this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So mine are 1. There are very few games that I rate higher than Entropy, but my favourite game of all time is technically listed as an abstract, so I'm going to put it down because I've never put it on a list, and that is Bridge. To be fair, I could split this into just a pack of cards. I would happily... I grew up playing cards, so technically I could say any card game with a pack of cards, but I'm going to say specifically Bridge because it's awesome. But like all the logical thinking that if he did that, he would have done this instead, and all that sort of stuff. So like predicting what other people would do based on what they haven't done so far, what they have done so far, and stuff like that. Cooperating with your partner and stuff it's sort of a cooperative game, but there's no theme at all. It is completely abstract. It's all about scoring points and stuff like that, about playing cards and just playing a pack of cards. But the variation you get with it is just unique. I'll never solve it. I keep wanting to get better. And one of the other strengths, a bit like Entropy playing with Amy, I really like it because I get to play it a lot. I get to play Bridge a lot because it's so popular. Yeah. Such a popular game. If Bridge was a very niche game, I wouldn't like it as much because you don't get that competitive edge to it. I wouldn't get to play with 3 other people, of which we're going to have a high standard game there, which is a problem with a lot of these games. You want like an equal footing for you to enjoy the game, for you to feel like, yeah, I can win this game or something like that.
Yeah.
Steve taught me how to play Bridge, and Steve's really, really good at Bridge. And one of the problems with Bridge is there's so much to learn, right? So many levels of how good you can be at Bridge. And like Steve's all the way up here, and I kind of made it to about here. Okay. So that's one issue, is that you have to put so much time in to kind of get up to a level where you really appreciate all the intricacies of the game that Steve does. The other issue I have with it is, though, because of the randomness of the cards, in order to make it fair and competitive, you basically have a kind of rolling, moving around the table system where the hands are dealt out in a fixed way to all the different tables, and then you kind of keep rotating around.
Yeah, so you pick your hand up at the end of it and you put it back in a little board. So and then you pass the board to another table and they play it as well. But they're playing exactly the same hands as you. So whoever's sat in my position on that table will get my hand. And the idea at bridge isn't you're not trying to score the most points. You're trying to score points better than the people at the other table.
Yeah,
which is a very fair way of doing it.
Yeah.
And for random card games, so if you play whist, it's just I've got my aces and kings. I'm gonna win this hand.
So the issue for me is playing a game. I want to enjoy and get to know the people I'm playing the game with. But when you play bridge at any kind of competitive level, which I think you need to do to appreciate how good the game is, every game, which lasts, how long does a typical game last?
One hand, 7.5 minutes ish.
And then you move to a different pair of people. So it's like, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Jonathan. Then we're off now. Hi, I'm Jonathan. You keep going around, introducing yourself again and again and again. Unless you go to the same club and play with the same people a lot. But even then, there isn't much conversation between games, is there? And they're all really old. People at bridge clubs are just old. So, we were the youngest by a long way, weren't we?
They kept asking as if we were university students, which was really nice.
But I can appreciate it's a very, very good game. You just need to put a ton of time into it.
I've not played bridge.
Takes too long, which is its biggest downside, I think, to learn. Sadly.
Yeah.
But it's amazing.
All right. My number one has got theme. And that is Patchwork. So this is Uwe Rosenberg's classic two-player game, which again, Steve taught me this one. And although in theory you're sort of assembling a patchwork quilt, if you like, by putting the various pieces on, it's a very abstract Tetris-style game where you're just trying to fit the different size and shape pieces onto a square grid. But the central mechanism of moving around the board and picking the pieces is really, really interesting, I think. So when it's your turn, wherever the pawn is, you can pick one of the next 3 pieces. And each piece has 2 costs associated with it. There's the cost in time. You kind of spiral into this board, and when you run out of time, you can't get any more pieces. There's also the cost in buttons, which is the currency of the game. And whoever has the most buttons at the end wins, so that's super important. And there's often a big trade-off. Some pieces cost lots of buttons, but don't cost a lot of time. Some cost loads of time and can cost no buttons at all sometimes. So that's really interesting. But you need to fill up your grid because you're getting minus points for any space that you don't fill at the end of the game. So lots of interesting things you've got to weigh up every time you make a decision. And when you take your turn, you're like, okay, if I take this piece, that means they could take this one or this one. Oh, but they really need that piece. So maybe I should take this piece. Even if it's not the best piece for me right now, it stops them getting a piece that will be amazingly good for them. So yeah, I really like the back and forth of it. It's my favourite abstract game.
I really like the fact that you can take 2 turns in a row if you plan it well, or 3 turns. And you've got to be catered
yes,
to that.
Because the person furthest back on the time track, isn't it?
So
it's their turn.
Taking a piece that's really good for you that costs a lot of time is potentially bad because they've got loads of choice on their turn. Not only can they get this, then this and this, or this and this, this and this, and then mess you up or whatever.
Yeah.
But all the reasons you said that you like it, you know, if I do this and he'll do that, and then he'll do this, and and this is best for me, but this is tactically better or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what makes abstract games great.
Yeah.
For me, I love them.
I really like Patchwork because it's got 2 very different markets of people that play. You've got the people who will think of every strategy under the sun that can play it very competitively, and then I've got people who will walk in to the cafe who have never played anything more than Monopoly and Scrabble. I can sit them down, teach them Patchwork in 5 minutes flat, and they'll love it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that there could be lots of strategy. They have enjoyed playing it regardless. And if they choose to play again and build on those strategies and figure them out, that's great. But it's something that I could teach anybody in 5 minutes flat and they'd probably enjoy it.
That's really rare, I think. Very few games can do that.
Yeah.
And particularly because it's so short.
Yeah.
And appeals to such a wide range of people.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a really lovely 2-player game, and if anyone comes into the cafe and there's 2 of them, it's probably the first one I go to if they're looking for that sort of games. Obviously, if they want a word game, then Conan's and blah blah blah. But if that's usually Patchwork is usually the one I go straight to. So
it's a very good game.
Yeah,
we've got to play our knockout match, haven't we?
Oh really?
Yeah, we're playing each other in the Patchwork knockout. I think.
Okay.
So we'll see.
yeah.
So that's our top 5 abstract games. Did we say anything you liked? Did you have anything that we've all my stuff on our list that we definitely should have because it's an awesome game, please comment below. Did you have any honourable mention? You definitely didn't.
Nope, only 5. There are only 5 good abstract games in the world.
I considered Santorini.
I considered Backgammon.
Yeah. So some other ones. Again, generally, I wanted pure abstract games for my list, and a couple of the ones Jonathan said are really good games. Ricochet Robots is very good, and I just picked that over it, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There you go.
Anyway, yeah, please comment below. Please like and subscribe and share. Please let us know whether we're just complete lunatics for liking any of these games in the first place. But yeah, that we've been The Table. I'm Steve.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Amy.
Thanks for watching.
See you next time.